I'm going to talk to you today about the observations that I went to. The first one that I went to was at Carlisle Elementary, and this was a kindergarten class, and Miss Page was the teacher. She's been a teacher for about 33 years, so she is very experienced. She did a fantastic job in the classroom. You can tell that she really loves her job, and she does a great job as a teacher and does the best she can do to ensure that her students are learning and that they are understanding the importance of school. I really enjoyed getting to observe this class. It really makes me take note on how I need to be when I become a teacher in my own classroom. Her classroom was very small, so it was hard for her to set up all her centers the right way, but they were all set up in a great way. And there were different centers like Listening Center, the Music Center, the Art Center, the Manipulative Center, and then in the back of the room, which I really liked, she had a semicircle table, and with this she did individual one-on-one work. So while the children were in the centers, she was able to grab a student that was maybe having trouble in a certain subject and helping them out while the other students are in the center. So I really enjoyed this classroom. The second school that I went to observe was also at Carlisle, and it was a first grade class. And the teacher there was Miss Ball, and this classroom was kind of different. It was not set up in the normal way. It was set up with lawn chairs and Big Joe chairs and yoga balls. And I talked to her about this, and she said the reason why she does this is that some students in her class have ADD. And this is a great way for them to bounce on the yoga ball or the exercise ball, if you will, and keep moving while she is teaching. And she found that they listen a whole lot better when they do that. So the atmosphere was totally different from any of the other classes I observed. She called it alternate seating, and the children did not have assigned seats. They were able to walk in each day and sit wherever they wanted. So I thought that was really neat that the kids got to choose where they wanted to sit. Overall, her classroom was very inviting and mellow. The students were disciplined, yet they were free to sit where they wanted. Miss Ball places the trust in the students for them to pick where they want to sit. They also got grounded from a certain seat if they chose to act up during class, and they were taken away from that certain chair or ball or whatever for the rest of the week. She was very fun and welcoming. She still had control of the classroom, but yet the kids were kind of free to make more choices in her classroom. She showed me that even though it was a classroom setting, it does not mean that you cannot make it fun or exciting. She was a great teacher and really put forth the effort to make her students want to come to her class and learn. The third class that I went to visit was a second grade class, and this was also at Carlisle Elementary with Miss Kilgore. This class was very different from Miss Ball's class, as it was very strict, and she did not like a lot of noise to come from her students. This happened to be a reading class, so the majority of the class she spent reading a book to her students, and then after that they wrote in their journal what was different from the book that she read and what was the same from another book that she had read last week. So the children spent the majority of the time writing in their journal, so the classroom was very quiet and very well managed. I thought she had really good control of the classroom and definitely good discipline in the classroom. But it did seem kind of dull. There's really no opportunity for me to not really per se interact with the children, but be able to talk with the teacher and kind of see what the children are doing, because they kind of did their own thing, and she kind of stayed at her desk. The second grade class did seem really smart due to the fact that Miss Kilgore seemed to have worked with them throughout the year to make sure that they are prepared for third grade. Observing this class has taught me to be aware that sometimes having a quiet, strict class is really not the best way for students to learn, but it does make for a well-disciplined class. This class seemed to become kind of bored very easily because of the environment and the setting. The next school that I observed was at Lone Oak Elementary, and this was third grade special ed, which had inclusion students in it who are special needs students. My hour observing there, it started out kind of interesting because the teacher ended up not being in the classroom because they were all in the library. So I observed them in the library for 30 minutes, and then the next 30 minutes I observed her. And the students, all they really did was did a handwriting packet the whole time. So I really didn't get to see the interaction between the special needs kids and the special needs teacher. But she did kind of explain to me what they do, and they give modified tests and also sometimes worksheets for the special needs kids so that they have an easier version to help them out and their special needs. The next class that I observed was also at Lone Oak Elementary, and this was a self-contained class, and it was fourth grade. I loved this classroom. It was very calming, and the classroom was very well organized, which is what the special needs teacher said that they need, because if not, they get very distracted. The activities that they do are very hands-on. They work with a lot of technology. This also helps them learn in a different way and really helps them out. They use the smartboard a lot, and they use a lot of different online websites as well. This classroom was marvelous in every way possible. The teacher was incredible with the students, and the classroom setting was very well organized. The next one I did was a 5th grade special education room, and this was at Southwest Middle School in Searcy. This was a very, very, very boring class. The teacher did not interact with me at all, so I really had no idea what was going on. I know that there were 10 inclusion students in the classroom, and it was a math class. All they did the entire class was work in their workbook, and they did math problems. So when they had questions, the teacher was very good about walking around the room and helping, especially helping the inclusion special ed kids do their assignment, but it's still, I wasn't very impressed with the teacher and how she handled me coming into the room to observe. I didn't think she was very welcoming at all, but I think she was very good with the students. And the classroom setting was very calm and quiet because she made sure all the students were working on their workbook. The next one I did was at Lone Oak Middle School, and this was 6th grade self-contained. This teacher, her name was Miss Buffalo. She was very good, very well disciplined, the kids. It was very quiet, and I liked that the classroom was very open. It was spacious. There wasn't that much stuff on the walls, but again, that's because it distracts them if there's a lot of different things going on at once. She opened up the classroom to be something that all the students could be a part of, which allows them to have freedom in it. Like, they were able to go on their computers when they were done with their work. They could choose which website they wanted to go on. Again, this classroom uses a lot of technology to help the students learn in different ways to help them out. Again, she explained that the classroom must be clean and clear of any distractions, as her students get distracted very easily. Each student has had his or her own desk, which happens to be relatively spread out, like I mentioned before, from each student in the class. This enables the students to listen to Miss Buffalo when she is speaking, because they do get distracted. I really like this class. I feel like she is very experienced in special education, and she definitely cares about her students and definitely wants them to excel when they go to the next level, to the next grade level. And then the last class that I observed was at an inclusive special education site. This was very different, as this was a pre-K class, and this was at the Cabot Exceptional School. I walked in there thinking that these teachers would be more, I guess, educated, if you say, but I found out that I actually had more experience than these teachers. It was very chaotic, as you can imagine, because these are all special needs kids, anywhere from a speech impediment to Down syndrome or to autistic. And there was only like 7, I think, students in the classroom, but it still was very, very crazy. The teachers kind of didn't really walk around the room and make sure that students were doing what they're supposed to be doing. They really didn't redirect them to go somewhere else or listen to them. It was kind of crazy, and I feel like it could have been better managed, but it wasn't. It was eye-opening to see that there can be a classroom of these young kids with disabilities, and they're all different disabilities, so that is kind of hard to accommodate to all these kids, but I feel like it could have been more well managed, as well as the classroom.